Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with Jazz That's Me. Today we have a lot to discuss. Um, I am deeply sorry that I haven't been posting lately. I've been very busy with school. School is kicking my butt, like I said. Um, so I wanted to get into Joss Whedon. He is the creator of Buffy, the television shows Buffy and Angel, and there have been many allegations about him that have come out recently, and we're about to get into them. So let me share my screen. All right. So first one we wanted to get into was Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher accuses Joss Whedon of abusive, unprofessional behavior on the Justice League set. Hmm. Let's see what Joss did. Okay, so it says actor Ray Fisher accused director Joss Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable behavior on the set of 2017 film Justice League in a tweet that quickly went viral on Wednesday, according to Variety.com. Now, this was posted July 1st. I didn't hear about this on July 1st, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, it went viral on Wednesday. Fisher also claimed in his tweet on Wednesday that former Warner Brothers co president of production John Berg and former DC Entertainment president and chief creative officer Geoff Johns both enabled Whedon's alleged behavior on Justice League. Now, I've always said this to people: people wouldn't act the way they did it unless they were, they if they people need to call this behavior out. Basically, he was enabled. Basically, he nobody told him what he was doing was incorrect, or nobody called him out on his BS, so he kept doing it. Um, So it says Berg and John also served as producers on Justice League and the film's poor performance was a factor in both executives exiting their positions, leading the DC film unit at the studio. Fisher offered no corroboration for his claims, and attempts to reach his representatives for further clarification went unanswered. I wonder why. Whedon had no comment. A representative for Warner Brothers did not immediately respond to a request for comment. When reached for a comment on Wednesday afternoon, Berg told Variety that it was categorically untrue that we enabled any unprofessional behavior. Okay. I remember Fisher being upset that we wanted him to say "booyah," which is well-known saying for Cyborg in the animated series, Berg added. So, Whedon, the director of Marvel Studios' blockbuster superhero movies, The Avengers Age of Ultron, took over directing duties for extensive additional photography in the DC Comics adaptation from Zack Snyder. After Snyder left the project due to a death in the family, Fisher played the cybernetic superhero Cyborg in the film, alongside Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and Miller's The Flash. The resulting film received mixed to negative reviews and grossed a disappointing 657.9 million worldwide. More importantly, the tonal mix of Snyder and Whedon's sensibilities led many fans to see the film as unacceptable compromise of Snyder's true vision that led to a years-long grassroots fans campaign to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League, which was ultimately successful. Snyder announced in May that his cut of the film will debut in HBO Max in 2021. Yeah, so his behavior is under fire, but this is not the only person. So I wanted to show you this. This is his ex-wife, Kai Cole. Joss Whedon is a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals, ex-wife Kai Cole says. Okay? So I'm going to read you this because She basically she wanted to tell her part of the story. She didn't want to say shut anymore. I've been asked so many questions by the press recently about my divorce from Joss Whedon, to whom I was married for 16 years. There is misinformation out there, and I feel the best way to clear up the situation is to tell my truth. Let me begin by saying I am a very private person, and the act of writing this is an anti ethical to who I am and everything I stand for. So she's very private. She doesn't like to talk about her life, and but she felt the need to say something. So, yet at the same time, I feel compelled to go on the record and clear up some misperceptions. I don't think it's fair to me or other women to remain silent any longer. Hmm. So there's more women. I met Joss in 1991. I was driving across the country from Massachusetts on a whim and met him when I was passing through Los Angeles. We fell in love, and I moved to LA so we could be together. I was with him when his Buffy the Vampire script was adapted and the resulting movie was released. It was painful to see how his vision was interpreted by the production team. And on our honeymoon to England in 1985, I urged him to figure out how to turn it into a TV show. He didn't want to work in television anymore, following in his father's and grandfather's footsteps, but I convinced him that it was the fastest way to get the experience he needed so he could direct his own film someday. I had no idea in that lovely garden in Bath that it would change everything. So basically, she's saying that he wasn't like this from the beginning. This is back in 1995. This is 4 years after they met. So there were times in our relationship that I was uncomfortable with the attention Joss paid other women. He always had a lot of female friends, but he told me it was because his mother raised him as a feminist. Okay. So he just liked women better. He said he admired and respected females. He didn't lust after them. I believed him and trusted him. On the set of Buffy, Josh decided to have his first secret affair. Jeez Louise. 15 years later, when he was done with our marriage and finally ready to tell the truth, he wrote me. When I was running Buffy, I was surrounded by beautiful, needy, aggressive young women. It felt like I had a disease, like something from a Greek myth. Suddenly, I am powerful. I am a powerful producer, and the world is laid out at my feet, and I can't touch it. But he did touch it. He said he understood I would have to lie or conceal some part of the truth for the rest of my life, but he did it anyway, hoping that the first affair would be enough, that then we could move on and outlast it. That's some BS, I'm telling you. Joss admitted that for the next decade and a half, he hid multiple affairs and number of inappropriate emotional ones that he had with his actress co-workers, fans, and friends while he stayed married to me. He wrote me a letter when our marriage was falling apart, but I still didn't know the whole truth and said I've never loved anyone or wanted to be with anyone in any real or long-term way except for you. And I love our life. I love how you are, how we are, who you are, and what we've done both separately and together. How much fun we have. He wanted it all. He didn't want to choose. So he accepted duality as part of his life. So he was basically living a double life, basically. Then later, after he confessed everything, he told me, I let myself love you. I stopped worrying about the contradiction. As a guilty man, I knew the only way to hide was to act as though I were righteous. And as a husband, I wanted to be with you like we had been. I lived two lives. When he walked out of our marriage, he was trying to make things seem less bewildering, to help me understand how he could have lied to me for so long, he said. In many ways, I thought the height of normal in this culture. We're taught to be providers and companions, and at the same time, to conquer and acquire, specifically sexually, and I was pulling off both. Despite understanding on some level that was what he was doing was wrong. No, I'm sorry. Despite understanding on some level that what he was doing was wrong, he never conceded the hypocrisy of being out in the world preaching feminist ideas, while at the same time taking away my right to make choices for my life and my body based on the truth. He deceived me for 15 years. So he could have had everything he wanted. I believe everyone believed that he was one of the good guys, committed to fighting for women's rights, committed to our marriage, and to the woman he worked with. But I now see how he used his relationship with me as a shield, both during and after our marriage. So no one would question his relationship with other women or scrutinize his writings as anything other than feminist. I thought we were a couple, a team. I was a powerful influence on the career choice Josh made during 20 years we were together. We lived together for 4 years before marrying. I kept him grounded and helped him find the quickest way to success. Success he so deeply craved. I loved him. And in return, he lied to me a lot. He said after he left, he understood. It's not just like I killed you, but that I'd done it subtly over years, that I've been poisoning you, chipping away at you. He made me doubt my own instincts and watch me move further away from my personal values and social mores, trying to connect with him, never telling me it was impossible. By the time he finally confessed the truth, 15 years after his first affair on the set of Buffy, I was broken. My brain could not fit my experience of our life together through the new lens of his deceit. Wow. So, my entire reality changed overnight, and I went from being a strong, confident woman to a confused, frightened mess. I was eventually diagnosed with a complex PTSD, and for the last 5 years, I have worked hard to make sense of everything that happened and find my balance again. It has not been easy because even though in my personal life I have been completely open about what happened publicly, people only know his superficial presentation of us. Um, him as the lovable geek feminist, and me in the background as his wife and supporter. We're finally divorced. I'm doing architecture again and slowly getting my life and self esteem back. I feel for her. That sucks. Like, so many men do this to women and it sucks. Like, they don't realize what they're taking away from somebody, and it's selfish. So, until recently, Josh was still letting the illusion of our marriage stay intact. Now that it's finally public, I want to let women know that he is not who he pretends to be. I want the people who worship him to know he is human, and the organizations giving him awards for his feminist work to think twice in the future about honoring a man who does not practice what he preaches. But no matter what happens or how people interpret the statement, I no longer have to carry the burden of Jaws, long term deceit, and confessions. I am free. So that's what his wife of 16 years had to say. So he was cheating on her the whole time, but treating people like crap on his sets. Okay? So I just want to give you a broad picture of who this man really is or what he portrayed to people. Okay? So Charisma Carpenter, you guys know her as Cordelia, and she was on a few of the shows. She was on Buffy, she was on Angel, she was also guest star on Charmed as well. And when she was filming Angel, I believe that he gave her a hard time because she got pregnant in the fourth season. And he basically, from what I'm reading, I think he got rid of her during her pregnancy and he made her feel like crap. He called her fat allegedly in front of people. And it just wasn't a healthy work environment, basically. Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Charisma Carpenter claimed Joss Whedon found his alleged misconduct amusing, claiming he was particularly cruel to her while she was pregnant, even calling her fat in front of cast and crew. So basically, he belittled her, basically made her question all her choices. Like, think about it. You're already emotional as it is as a pregnant woman, and to be told that you're fat and in front of everyone. First of all, you shouldn't even talk to a pregnant woman about being fat at all because she's creating life. So you're just a jerk. So, you know, second of all, like, you're not even her husband to even have an opinion. Or even if it was my husband, I would not let him have an opinion as well either. I'm carrying a baby. You should just be quiet. Point blank. You know what I'm saying? So this is an article that was written on the HollywoodReporter.com. Um, Charisma Carpenter accuses Joss Whedon of traumatizing her on the set of Buffy. Co-star offer support. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Amber Benson have rallied to Carpenter's side as the actress alleges on-set harassment and misconduct from the Buffy creator. Charisma Carpenter on Wednesday posted a lengthy message on social media in which she accused Joss Whedon of hostile and toxic behavior on the sets of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and its spinoff Angel. For nearly 2 decades, I have held my tongue and even made excuses for certain events that traumatized me to this day, she began. Joss Whedon abused his power on numerous occasions while working together on the sets of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. She wrote on the show. She wrote of the show creator. The disturbing incidents triggered a chronic physical condition from which I still suffer. It is with a beating, heavy heart, that I say I coped in isolation and at times destructively. Whedon did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Carpenter claimed Whedon found his alleged misconduct amusing, claiming that he was particularly cruel to her while she was pregnant, even calling her fat in front of cast and crew. He was mean and biting, disparaging of other about others openly. Let me just make this a little bigger. Okay. So, okay. He was mean and biting, disparaging about others openly, and often played favorites, she wrote. When Whedon found out she was pregnant, she says, he asked the actress if she was going to keep it and manipulatively weaponized my womanhood and faith against me, Carpenter said. Carpenter alleged. I'm sorry. Alleged. Speaking about her pregnancy and stress, Carpenter wrote that all her joy was sucked right out of her, adding, I made excuses for his behavior and repressed my own pain. The actress was an original series regular on the WB network and the UPN's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, playing snobby high school student Cordelia Chase. She starred for the first 3 seasons on the Sarah Michelle Gellar cult favorite before her character was moved over to the co-stars opposite David Boreanaz and Buffy spinoff. She was the female lead on Angel for 4 of its 5 seasons, returning as a guest star in its 100th episode and its final season. Gellar, who starred as the vampire, I'm sorry, Gellar, who starred as the vampire slayer on Buffy for 7 seasons, weighed in shortly um, after to stay. She stands with all survivors of abuse. She posted the following statement on social media. While I am proud to have my name associated with the Buffy Summers, I don't want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon. I am more focused on raising my family and surviving a pandemic currently. So I will not be making any further statements at this time. But I will stand with all survivors of abuse and proud of them for speaking out. Michelle Trachtenberg, who played Buffy's younger sister, Dawn Summers from 2000 to 03, responded to Gellar's post with her own accusations against Whedon, writing, Thank you, Sarah Michelle Gellar, for saying this. I am brave enough now as a 35-year-old woman to repost this because this must be known. As a teenager, with his appropriate behavior, with his not appropriate behavior, not appropriate. Amber Benson, who played fan favorite Tara McClay on Buffy, tweeted her support of Carpenter on Wednesday. Buffy was a toxic environment and it starts at the top, she wrote. There was a lot of damage done during the time, and many of us are still processing it 20 years later, 20 plus years later. While the two never overlapped during the time of Buffy, they have remained friendly via the fan convention circuit over the years. Benson and Carpenter are doing a fan event at the end of the month together. Benson recurred in seasons 4 and 5 of Buffy and was promoted to series regular in season 6 before her character was killed off. Carpenter's claims come 7 months after Ray Fisher accused Whedon of abusive behavior on the set of Justice League's reshoots, which the filmmaker oversaw following the exit of the original director, Zack Snyder. Fisher's complaint saw Warner Media launch an investigation into the Justice League reshoots, and Carpenter said she was part of the investigation. As the investigation carried on, Whedon announced November 24th that he was stepping down from The Nevers, a series he was working on with Warner Media's HBO, saying a statement, "I am genuinely exhausted and stepping back to marshal my energy towards my own life, which is also at the brink of the exciting change." Weeks later, on December 11th, Warner Media announced that it had completed the investigation with remedial action taken. Yet the story was not over. Fisher said he would not work on a production with DC film boss Walter Hamada due to what Fisher claimed was the executive interfering with the investigation. He went on saying he would not be playing Cyborg in the upcoming The Flash movie. Warner Media has stood by Hamada. I believe in Walter Hamada and that he did not impede or interfere in the investigation, said Warner Media Chair CEO Ann Sarnoff in a statement on January 15th. Whoa. But this is not even over. Whoever this Hamada guy is, he's complicit to this because it's alleged that he basically interfered with the investigation. Whew. So Fisher on Wednesday thanked Carpenter for speaking out, writing on Twitter, "Charisma Carpenter is one of the bravest people I know. I am forever grateful for her courage and for her lending a voice to the Justice League investigation. Read her truth. Share her truth. Protect her at all costs. It is time." Okay. So what do you guys think about that? Joss Whedon, it seems like you're under fire right now. I actually have the tweet um, from Charisma. I'm gonna read it to you guys. So it says, "This is from Charisma. For nearly 2 decades, I have held my tongue and even made excuses for certain events that traumatize me to this day. Josh Whedon abused his power on numerous occasions while working together on the sets of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and Angel. While he found his misconduct amusing, it only served to intensify my performance anxiety, um, disempower me, and alienate me from my peers. The disturbing incidents triggered a chronic physical condition from which I still suffer. It is with a beating, heavy heart that I say I coped in isolation and at times destructively. Last summer, when Ray Fisher publicly accused Joss of abusive and unprofessional behavior toward the cast and crew during the reshots of the Justice League set in 2017, it guilted me. Um, no, I'm sorry, it gutted me. Josh has a history of being casually cruel. Okay. He has created hostile and toxic work environments since his early career. I know because I experienced it firsthand, repeatedly. So, like his ongoing passive aggressive threats to fire me, which wreaked havoc on the younger actor's self-esteem, and callously calling me fat to colleagues when I was 4 months pregnant, weighing 126 pounds. Are you kidding me? You called 126 pounds fat, Joss? Really? Ridiculous. Um, he was mean and biting, disparaging about others, openly and often played favorites, pitting people against one another to compete and vie for his attention and approval. He called me in for a sit down meeting to interrogate me and berate me regarding a rosary tattoo I got to help me feel more spiritually grounded and an increasingly volatile work climate that affected me physically. Joss intentionally refused multiple calls from my agents, making it possible to connect with him to tell him the news that I was pregnant. Finally, once Josh was apprised of the situation, he requested a meeting with me. In that closed door meeting, he asked me if I was going to keep it. Now that is none of his damn business. He is not like you don't do that. You don't do that to a woman. That's not okay. And manipulatively weaponized my womanhood and faith against me. He proceeded to attack my character, mock my religious beliefs, and accuse me of sabotaging the show. And then unceremoniously fired me the following season once I gave birth. At 6 months pregnant, I was about to report to work at 1 a.m. after my doctor recommended shortening my work hours due to long and physical demanding days and the emotional stress of having to defend my needs as a working pregnant woman. I began to experience Braxton Hicks contraction. It was clear to me that 1 a.m. call was um, retaliatory. So basically, he called her into work because he knew that she was pregnant. He's like, nope, you have to come in. It wasn't like she could, you know, come in the next day or they can shoot it later. He had no sympathy for the girl. Okay. Ridiculous. I don't know, but I'm glad that all these people are getting called out for their BS because it's about damn time. So I also wanted to talk about this. There is more stories coming out about Marilyn Manson. I wanted to talk about this last week, but I was so busy um, with school that I wasn't able to get on and actually post a video. So Marilyn Manson's ex-wife, Rachel Wood, came out last week or the week before and said that Marilyn basically was abusive towards her. So let's read what the New York Post had to say. So, in his keynote address of the 1997 College Music Journal Music Marathon, Marilyn Manson, let me just read the title. Marilyn Manson's sick and abusive world was always there for all of us to see. He was like this for a while. It's just that now it's being called out because there's a few women, stepping out and saying something about him. So, in his keynote address for the 1997 College Music Journal Music Marathon, Marilyn Manson, the goth metal shock rocker whose controversial Antichrist Superstar album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard charts a year earlier, took a moment to discuss his inspiration. So this is Rachel Wood. I just wanted to point this out. So she was married. Oh, I'm sorry. That was her ex-fiance. Okay. So, okay. The character Lucifer in the Bible is to me a hero. You gotta be kidding me. Because he got kicked out of heaven when he wanted to be God, Manson told the crowd. Plenty of rock stars pretend to have sympathy for the devil, but the sources say that for Manson, it wasn't an act. More than 23 years later, Manson had been dropped by the music industry after a number of women have accused the 52-year-old of behaving like the devil by physically, mentally, and sexually abusing them. Last week, 33-year-old Westworld actress and Emmy nominee Evan Rachel Wood accused former fiance Brian Warner, Manson's real name, of abusing her. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years, she wrote in her statement. Now, this is all alleged. But I feel for this girl. There's too much of this going on. We need to protect these kids. We need to protect all of our kids. Like, I think sometimes with parents, they believe that after their kids are teenagers, that they don't feel the need to be on them so much. But I think that's when you got to be on them the most. Like, teenagers make stupid decisions. Trust me, I've made plenty of stupid decisions when I was a teenager, and I wish my parents were a little more on me so I can make better ones. I know that everybody makes their own decisions and they're going to do what they want to do. But I do feel like some parents still need to give their input here and there. So, um, let's see where I was. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. The fallout was swift. Model Sarah McNally released her own statement alleging Manson locked her in rooms when she was bad and forced her to listen to him entertaining other women. That's sick. He is sick. Leaving her emotionally abused, terrorized, and scared. Actor Ashley Lindsay Morgan, who's Jewish, detailed instances in which Manson allegedly asked her to bring him Nazi memorabilia from Thailand. Shortly after Manson's record label and television shows dropped him, as did the talent agency CAA, which also represents Wood. This is crazy. Manson released his own statement, claiming that the charges are horrible distortions of reality, as well as noting that my art and my life have been long. I'm sorry, my art and my life have been long been magnets for controversy, which is true because when I was a kid, I remember that they blamed him for um, the Columbine shootings. Basically, that the kids actually listened to Marilyn Manson, and that's the reason why they allegedly did what they did. And I remember that clearly. That was all over the news. That was all over the place. They were literally blaming him. That I really don't know what to say about that because I mean people can get their influence from anywhere, I guess, to do bad things, but it's really in them. So you can't really blame one person for doing something other. You know, it's like what they're doing right now. Like if they're gonna blame Marilyn Manson, or no, I'm sorry, let's just bring it back. Let's about the Capitol. Allegedly like that Donald Trump said what he said, and it riled people up to do what they did at the Capitol. Now he's on trial for that shit right now. Okay, trial. They're trying to impeach him. Okay, even though he's not in the office anymore. So if he's being held accountable, why didn't Marilyn get held accountable for the kids from Columbine? If everybody really thought that because of they listened to his music, and that allegedly that's who inspired them to do what they did, then why didn't he get accountable? He get held accountable for that too. It's just questions like that. It just people need to ask themselves. So neither the CAA nor Manson responded to the post requests or comment. Over the years, Manson has crafted a creepy public persona, slicing his chest with a broken beer bottle on stage in 1995 and allegedly sexually assaulting an Ozfest security guard in 2001. The sexual assault charges were later dropped. Manson pled no contest to the battery charge and settled for an undisclosed sum in 2004. That now appears to be the same as his private one. I never saw a disconnect between the Marilyn Manson that was on stage and the Marilyn Manson that came off stage. They were just different levels of intensity. 53-year-old Kurt B. Riley, who published the 1998 Marilyn Manson's biography, told the Post. He was a very good at sensationalism, but I don't think he ever misrepresented himself. And I'm sorry to say, none of the things that have come to light are the least bit surprising or shocking to me. Now, Rose McGowan dated Marilyn Manson too. I read her book, and he wasn't like this with Rose. And she comes out and says the same thing. Like, she came out and made a statement about him too as well, and she said that he didn't treat her this way, but it's not okay what he did to others. You know what I'm saying? But I remember in the book that when they broke up, he was very nasty to her. Like, obviously, like, I get people get upset when people break up with them, but he took it to the extreme. He was mean. I'm not sure if I remember her saying that he tried to smear her, or all I remember is that he was mean to her. Like, he was just an asshole to her afterwards. And I remember her writing that in her book. So, using a portmanteau of Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, Warner formed Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids with Daisy Berkowitz. The late Scott Putesky in 1989, Nine Inch Nails frontman Trent Reznor eventually signed the group, its name now shortened to Marilyn Manson, to his Nothing Records imprint, and produced the band's 1994 debut album, Portrait of an American Family. So I guess this is them. So Reznor's then membership, he distanced himself from Marilyn Manson more than 2 decades ago, helped put Manson on a much larger stage. And his career, Manson had sold more than 50 million albums worldwide. But Manson had other goals, including questioning Christianity through his music and provoking organizations such as the Parents Music Resource Center, which he aimed to increase parental control over kids' musical preferences. Since the 1980s, when people were looking to blame rock music for its effects on society and looking to tame it in some way, labeled it, contained it, Manson wanted to push those boundaries. So I guess with this right here, I mean, going back to the whole Columbine thing, I guess that's the reason why people would think that it could have influenced them in some way. So, Theo Cataforis, 52, associate professor of music history and cultures of Syracuse University, told the Post. That's what his whole persona was based upon. So he wanted to push the boundaries. His concert presence, deemed by fans and electrifying, was also crude, including tearing up Bibles and using the American flag as toilet paper. Conservatives despised him for it. The American Family Association, of a Christian group, held protests outside his shows. In 1997, the association Gulf Coast chapter posted anonymous affidavits on the website claiming that Manson raped a dog on stage, held satanic services with virgin sacrifices, and threw both puppies and kittens into the audience to be torn apart. The band denied these claims and threatened to sue for libel and defamation, and the group took the claims off its website. Still, Manson remained unwelcome in various corners of the nation. He ripped up a Book of Mormon in front of Utah audience in 1994, which got him banned from playing in the state. In 1997, venues in Idaho, Alaska, Massachusetts, and Texas canceled concerts in South Carolina, paid him $40,000 not to play there. Ooh, so Alaska, Massachusetts, Texas, they weren't having him, and South Carolina. They were like, no, keep him over there. We don't want him. Manson's lyrics have also included themes of violence, with some alleging he inspired the 1999 Columbine School Massacre in Colorado. See? Because the two shooters were fans. Supposedly, they weren't. I don't know. Honestly, the Columbine era destroyed my entire career at the time, Manson told Guardian in 2017. Although musicians such as Ozzy Osbourne, who infamously bit off the head of a bat on stage in Des Moines in 1982, had previously courted controversy, nobody had done so quiet to the degree of Manson. That's kind of true. Ozzy Osbourne is another one that he pushed the limits. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up getting a TV show out of it. So let's just put that up there. You know what I'm saying? In the United States, I don't think you could point to someone prior to Manson where it was really magnified to the extent that it was around him. That's true. I can say that. It's true. Manson's startling antic also including an openness in discussing the violence he inflicted upon women or fantasized about. In his 1999 autobiography, now everybody's talking about this because they're saying that right here he talked about what he wanted to do to his then girlfriend, I believe, or just basically what he used to fantasize about. So in 1999, the autobiography, The Long Hard Road Out of Hell, co written with Neil Strauss, Manson admitted to smashing his mother in the face with a glass perfume bottle. Whew. Not only did the shreds leave her permanently scarred, but Manson said he felt no regrets since he suspected her of cheating on his father. This kid is crazy. Like, yo, my mom would have killed me. She would have buried me alive. Like, he's crazy. She just cried, and I never felt sorry for her, he wrote, adding that he hit her, spit on her, and tried to choke her. Allegedly, this is what he's saying. The inflammatory autobiography also includes details alleging Manson and Reznor physically and sexually assaulted an inebriated woman in the 1990s, a claim that Reznor has repeatedly called a complete fabrication. The accused abuser also copped to nearly orchestrating the perfect murder in the early 1990s of a lover and former bandmate named Nancy. He enlisted the help of a friend. Together, they followed her, cased out her house, and figured out her routine. Now I see why they think that he influenced the Columbine because he was literally giving people advice and what he would do. This was the first time I had ever seriously considered murder. She had to die, allegedly. He wrote of the plan to burn down Nancy's Fort Lauderdale, Florida home with her inside of it, which, at the last minute, gave them cold feet. While I didn't think it was a right to take a human life, I didn't think it was right to deny myself the chance of causing someone to die either, especially someone whose existence meant so little to the world and herself. He wrote in the autobiography at the time. Taking someone's life seemed to like a necessary growing and learning experience, like losing your virginity or having a child. This guy's crazy. That's crazy. None of that compares to that. That's just nuts. In that same book, Manson, who's now married to 36-year-old photographer Lindsay Usich, admitted to making rape threats against a woman who refused his and friends' advances. The harassment began with daily threatening phone calls for nearly a month, then grew even more serious in tone. We're watching you, we threatened at the height of our spit mass lust, he wrote. You better not leave work tonight because we're going to in the parking lot and then crush crush you underneath your own car. This guy was disturbed. So I guess this is Lindsay, guys. Crazy. In a tweet last week, 26-year-old musician Phoebe Bridges said that when she visited Manson's home, whose location she doesn't reveal as a teenager, he referred to a rape room. Manson now reportedly lives in Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, where he's been known to creepy items such as the skeleton of a Chinese girl and a clown painting done by the serial killer by John Wayne Gacy. According to a 2015 Rolling Stones article, Manson and his fellow scandal-ridden pal, Johnny Depp, Manson is godfather to his daughter, Lily Rose. I didn't know that. Once tried to buy the gun Hitler used to kill himself. In the same article, Manson noted that he's flypaper for damaged women. Oh, that sucks. He's also publicly spoken out about his twisted feelings about Wood, whom he met in 2005 when she was just 18 years old. The pair, who got engaged in 2010 but split up the same year, had an on and off relationship for 4 years. In 2009, Q&A with Spin magazine, Manson shared disturbing details of one of their breakups, including calling Wood 158 times on Christmas 2008. Every time he did, he said, I took a razor blade and I cut myself on my face or my hands. I wanted to show her the pain she put me through. He also added that I have fantasies every day about smashing her skull in with a sledgehammer. Whew. Manson's previous exes have come out in support of Wood, including his first wife, Dita Von Tess, who said in her statement that she left Manson in late 2006 due to infidelity and drug abuse. Please know that the details made public do not match my personal experience during our 7 years together as a couple, she added. Another Manson ex was Rose McGowan, like I just said. She tweeted her support of Wood. Former porn star Jenna Jameson, who did not respond to a request from the Post seeking comment, said last week she ended 1997 filing with Manson because he bit her during sex and fantasized about burning her alive. Wow. He is a lot, to say the least, Jameson told the Daily Mail. So, it was there. He was just suppressing this. Marilyn Manson brand of shock rock may have broken out during a very different time in the music industry, but insiders say the alarming clues were there for all to see. This is the response from Rose McGowan. She said, I stand with Evan, Rachel Wood, and other brave women who have come forward, and later added that her own relationship with Manson was not like that. Still, she said, that has no bearing on whether he was like that with others before or after, adding, she felt disgusted. So this is her and Marilyn Manson at the time. I think what's come out now is what's all kind of right in front of us, said Cataphorus. This guy was really acting in these awful ways, but we are so conditioned to accept the persona of a rock star as a type of fiction that people didn't take heed of those warning signs. There's no mystery about the kind of person that Marilyn Manson probably was, added Jern Oswald, senior music editor of Variety. Manson comes out of the era where there wasn't a whole lot of people telling him to hold back. Everything in music was super provocative. That's so true. And things aren't like that now. After Wood's allegations, the establishment swiftly turned its back on the past his prime Manson. But even if Manson's Creep Show has been canceled, his music will still be heard. I think if you just went on Spotify right now and wanted to listen to Antichrist Superstar, I don't think you'd have any trouble, said Oswald. They learned their lesson when they tried to cancel R. Kelly. It's crazy. So, what do you guys think about this whole Marilyn Manson thing? Like, this is what he's about, allegedly, right? It's crazy. Now, I wanted to point out this last thing. So, Game of Thrones actress Esmes Bianco accuses Marilyn Manson of abuse. Okay. So, according to page 6, Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco is the latest to accuse Marilyn Manson of terrifying abuse, claiming he repeatedly cut her with a knife. Mira, that is crazy. Okay, so claiming he repeatedly cut her with a knife, bit and whipped her, even chased her with an axe. Ooh, Lord help us all. That's crazy. The 38-year-old British told The Cut that the 50-year-old shocker rocker, who had been her teenage idol, controlled her like a prisoner when she left her husband to live with him for 2 months in 2011. She said Manson went from being a massive role model who really helped me through some incredible, dark, and difficult times as a teenager to a monster who almost destroyed me and almost destroyed so many women. It's not a misunderstood, she told the Court. He deserves to I'm sorry, he deserves to be behind bars for the rest of his life. It's crazy. The addition of Bianco makes it at least a dozen women making abuse allegations against the goth rocker, who has been dropped by his label. Like fellow actresses Evan Rachel Wood, she has even testified to California lawmakers about her abuse without naming Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner. Bianco said Manson's public persona was telling insight to his real behavior. He's told the world time and time again, "This is who I am," she said. He hid in plain sight, like everybody else did. Those people that are Kelly allegedly, Epstein allegedly, right? In plain sight. Her Game of Thrones character, Roz, who worked in a brothel and controlled, threatened, and tortured by men around her, provided painful, close to her reality. Close to her reality with the rocker, she said. In her interview, Bianca said that she was introduced to Manson in 2005 through his then fiancee, Dita Von Teese, and they were initially platonic friends. That changed in 2009 when she flew to LA to film scenes for his video, "I Want to Kill You Like They Do in the Movies," and he tied her to the prayer kneeler, lashed her with a whip, and used an electronic sex toy called a violet wand on her as a torture device, she said. They started a long-distance affair while she was still married, in which she said Manson bit her without consent, and she finally left her husband to move in with the rocker in March 2011. He quickly started controlling her life, dictating what she wore, when she slept, when she could leave his West Hollywood apartment, she claimed. "I basically felt like a prisoner," she said. "I came and went at his pleasure. Who I spoke to was completely controlled by him. I called my family hiding in the closet," she said, of fears of upsetting the star. Manson would also show Bianca sex scenes from Game of Thrones on a projector for guests, telling them, "That's my girlfriend. She's a whore. Look at her. Teas are out," witness told the Co. She started drinking heavily to blanket the pain, while Manson would start his day with breakfast of allegedly cocaine and abstinence, the report said. She finally left him in the middle of the night in May 2011 when he chased her around the apartment with an axe. Before naming Manson, Bianco once shared a photo of her back covered in wounds. Oh, Jesus Christ, poor girl. "The whipping that gave me these wounds was filmed in the name of art. I used to look at this photo with pride because I thought it was a sign of great devotion to my abuser. Now I look at it with horror," she wrote in March 2019. A lawyer for Manson did not respond to a request for comment, the Code said. Manson previously called other abuse claims against him horrible distortions of reality. "My intimate relationship have always been consensual with like-minded partners, regardless of how and why others are now choosing to misrepresent the past. That is the truth," he insisted. Craziness. Crazy. Now, the last thing I want to point out, what do you guys think about this Marilyn Manson thing, though? Like, there's dozens of women coming out. Like, the last couple years have not been good for people that have done their crap. People think that you can get away with stuff forever, but you can't. It's eventually everything comes out. So now, this is the last thing I wanted to show you because I was just like, wow, this is sad. According to Entertainment Tonight, a rising TikTok star was, she ended up taking her life. And she was only 18. So sad. So it says, rest in peace, Dazaria Schaefer, the rising TikTok star known online as the Bixby Girl D, died on Monday. She was 18. It's too young, guys. 18. She didn't even live her life at all. Schaefer's father, Raheem Allah, shared the heartbreaking news on TikTok on Tuesday. I just want to thank everyone for their love and support of my daughter. He wrote alongside the video tribute to Schaefer. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us and has gone to a better place. Um, in a GoFundMe, Allah further mourned his daughter, writing, I only wish she would have spoken to me about her stress and the thoughts of suicide. We could have worked through this. I only want to hold you again, my little jelly bean, he continued. Now I come home and you're no longer going to be there waiting for me. I have to let you fly with the angels. Daddy loves you. The TikTok star mom Jennifer Schaefer shared her heartbreak on Facebook. I'm so heartbroken. I really can't believe you're gone. You're going. I wish I was waiting on you to say it was a prank, but it's not. I wishing could have died instead of you. Rest in peace, my angel. Everyone talks about our bad times, but never talks about the good times. Baby girl D. Schaefer had a massive following, over 1.4 million. So sad, guys. This is, she was only 18. So, what do you guys think about that? It doesn't say that there was any foul play, but I'm hoping that, she was a big TikTok star. So, I'm hoping that, things don't come out later on, and I hope this family gets to grieve their daughter, because it's pretty sad. 18 years old is not even like, she hasn't even began to live. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Joss Whedon? Um, Marilyn Manson, how many girls have come out and basically, have stated their truth. They've spoken publicly about him, and he's never really, denied who he is. Maybe denies what he's done, and it's distorted versions of the truth, but some of it's truth, though, Marilyn. So now it's your time to deal with the BS. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to hit that like button so you can push my video through the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching.